now, a lot of meetings happening on Zoom, and you will see people. So I'll just try to enact some of the expressions, and please tell me what actually is going on. This is
Okay.
really, really cool, right?
All right.
So you see some people who are, well, nobody looks at camera, by the way, on Zoom meetings. So
Right.
you can't really
Mostly
see that they are
they'll look
looking
at
in the eye.
themselves.
Yeah, exactly. That is so
Yeah,
true.
they
You
do.
actually, you nailed it. I do that quite a lot when I'm
Everybody does.
talking.
We
I
love
look at
looking at
myself.
ourselves. Yeah, man.
Yeah, good, good. But some people will do like this when
Hmm.
talking, right? And is it like they're really bored? And I'm coming to the point that, there are some myths that you talk about in the book also about the
Hmm.
overall body language, which is one which I totally, totally, totally do not agree, is the folding hands
Oh yeah.
like this,
Yeah.
right? And people say that I'm not interested. Well, that's not really the case. And another one is when I yawn. So I think that could be personal. When I yawn,
Hmm.
people say, "Oh, you're yawning. That means you're either tired or you're bored." I oftentimes feel like I'm none of those, but I'm just
Hmm.
yawning because I saw somebody yawn, right? So those
Right.
are kind of myths, I believe, about the body language. So I wanted to understand
Okay.
what are the myths for the facial and the expression that I just told you that people keep doing
Okay.
on
Okay.
how can
Well,
what I can decipher them as.
okay. Well, let's start with the yawn. A lot of people are under the impression that when someone yawns, they're bored, and that's the main thing. However, if you're talking to someone and that's your body trying to get oxygen. So when you see someone do that, quite often they'll be getting oxygen because they'll be getting nervous or they'll be getting worked up, and you'll see them try to they may not make a big deal about it, but you'll see them go like that
Yeah,
because their body's trying to get oxygen. A lot of times it's a good thing to see that. Most people think it's something that's bad, but a lot of times it's something that's good, depending again on the situation. For example, if that thing where you run your hand through your hair, that's called an adapter. And that's one of the things we do to get rid of that built up stress and tension in a situation. And you can look at that two or three ways as well. A lot of people do business on Zoom now. And as they're doing business, what'll happen is they'll get the impression if say if you're talking to me and all of a sudden I start doing this, I start goofing around and looking at you like this, looking, and I'm thinking, is this guy full of it? Is this I don't know. Is this guy? I have that look on my face like I'm not thinking about me at that point. I'm not looking at myself and thinking how I look on Zoom. I'm thinking about what you're thinking about. And I'm thinking about, I have what's called inner dialogue. And when you're pitching your idea to someone, if you're an entrepreneur and you're pitching your thing to, I've had 3 people on Shark Tank, all 3 of them won. And so when you're seeing someone that you're pitching to and you see them doing this, that's the last person you want to focus on. It's easier and more pleasant to focus on the person smiling, but the person you want to focus on is the one's doing this. Maybe even be it to the side where maybe their legs are crossed and they're sitting looking at you like this, because at that point they've got inner dialogue going in here and they're thinking, is this going to work? I've got to go home and tell my wife about this, or I got to go home and tell my husband about this. And I'm putting $300,000 in this thing. Is this really going to happen in 3 years, or is she going to shoot me as soon as I say, when she says, so what do you we invest our money in? And I say, it's this.
mm,
Is she going to kill me? Is this thing going to work? Is this guy, is he full of it? Can he do what he says he's going to do? You're seeing all these things happening here in inner dialogue for the
yeah,
person you're pitching to. That's the one to focus on, because those are the people in a pitch. You're really just trying to get another meeting, period. That nobody's going to say, it sounds good to me. Except on Shark Tank, I'll invest in your company. It's not going to happen. They're going to say, all right, well, let's go from here. Why don't you meet with us and let's meet your team? And they start doing their due diligence, make sure you're who you say you are and those types of things, and get to know you. If they're going to give you a $1.2 million, they're going to want to know who you are and what you're about. So you want to see those things that look like they're not interested. Even in Zoom calls, if it's a business call and they start looking that way, that's great. That because they're just going, hmm, they don't care. They're right there, zoned right into everything you're saying, but they're not thinking about how it's going to affect them, how it's going to affect the people back at the office, or when they get off here and start telling somebody about it, how it's going to affect them. They're just paying attention to you and making sure you feel good about it. So a lot of times you can be wasting your time in those situations. That's what I found. And I'm actually doing a couple of studies on that right now, which will be in a
wow.
book later on. But